Hey guys, it's Aftab here. So in this podcast, I have my friend Monique with us. So she have recently done her internship at Amazon as a software developer. So we're going to discuss more about herself and we're going to discuss about her application approach for Amazon, her interview process, her interview preparation. So let's dive in and ask some questions about her journey. So hi Monique, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you in my podcast. So So before starting, can you describe or can you tell more about yourself, Monique?
Yeah, so I'm currently a senior at the University of North Texas, studying computer science as an undergraduate. I come from a background with manufacturing, specifically mechanical engineering. I did additive manufacturing. I studied that in Ontario, Canada, and I've ended up switching majors here and coming to Texas.
So you have done your bachelor's in which stream? Computer science or
I'm doing my bachelor's in computer science.
computer science? Okay. So how did you apply for Amazon, Monique?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's just online and student programs. They've recently changed their platform, so it's no longer separated from the regular jobs. So it's just the same job opportunities that you would find any other Amazon job roles.
So you applied through the website or you applied through LinkedIn?
I applied through their website, yes. I've also applied with a referral. I think that's a very important step for especially all the bigger companies, but especially Amazon. Something that's worthwhile to note is that you need to have a referral before applying. Otherwise, the person referring you can't do much.
Okay. So you got about how did you got to know about that posting through through your referral itself or any other social media platform or?
I was actually interested in Amazon specific jobs. So I've just went on the website. I found jobs in areas that I was interested in within software development. And I applied for a Canada role. I applied for a Seattle role, which is the one that I ended up getting.
Okay.
And then after I found the role, I've participated in a couple of presentations by Amazon, and I ended up meeting and connecting with folks from Amazon, where I got my referral from.
So you randomly, after applying for the job, you randomly approach the people in Amazon, or your friends are already working in Amazon?
So Amazon does a lot of presentations. They do a lot of workshops. They are always posting that on LinkedIn. They're posting on their social media platforms. And through that, afterwards, after the presentation, I connected and reached out to people through LinkedIn. And so I ended up getting referral that way. And again, you have to spot a job role and then tell them which job role you're applying for along with your resume before actually applying for the job role.
Really interesting, Monique. That's really interesting. So my next question will be, how was the interview process done for Amazon?
The interview process is pretty simple for an intern. The first step is the OA, online assessment, where you do 2 leak code style questions.
Okay.
They use a platform called HackerRank. It's very simple. You have an X amount of time, depending where the job position that you're applying for, it will either be recorded or not. And after you've gone through that and you passed it, they call you back for a phone interview where they ask you behavioral questions and then technical questions. And the behavioral questions identify if you're a fit for what Amazon is looking for, their leadership principles, things like that.
So what type of interview or what type of lead code questions were asked during your internship interview process?
I believe they were medium questions. They weren't overly difficult questions. They were definitely challenging questions, but they're definitely very doable questions within the time frame.
Okay, only 2 questions were asked.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So how was your interview preparation for that? So what all things we have prepared for the interview?
So I did the I believe it's called Me 50, which is essentially just a bunch of questions that are kind of like that style. And you can find a lot of a lot of question banks
Okay.
for company specifics. So you can find them for Amazon, you can find them for Google, for Microsoft. Many of the bigger companies have question banks like that. You can
Okay.
kind of get an idea. Amazon questions are generally very wordy, and a big part of it is being able to parse out what you're being expected to do from the question rather than the problem being very difficult.
So lots of students like if they're practicing or they're preparing for top tier companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, they'll be directly solving many problems in lead code other than few selected problems. So is there any suggestion for them like you want with them to solve many problems as much as or only few particular problems which are only for Amazon, Microsoft, Google like that?
I find that it's helpful to get an idea for the kinds of questions that you might be asked, but I also think it's more important to have a grasp of how to solve that type of question rather than be able to solve that specific question.
Okay. So what all topics you want us to focus more upon, like in data structures, this in particularly more upon data structures. What all type of questions or what all type of topics which we have to focus more upon?
You can find lists of online of for particular companies that you can choose the specific data structures that are more likely to show up. I believe for Amazon, a lot of people tell you to look for trees, how to balance trees and things like that.
Okay.
Binary search trees. I know a couple of people who got those kinds of questions in their interviews.
Okay.
Personally, I didn't, but those are definitely one that like people always mention.
So was there only one stage of interview process, one stage of interview process, technical round, and a second one was a behavioral round, right?
Yeah, it was behavioral and technical,
Behavioral.
but with an interviewer.
Okay, good. So how long was the interview process then?
The interview process, the entire interview process was longer than normal. They had a couple of issues when it comes to having enough people to interview. It was a very large intern class this year. So my application was in December 2023. And then that was when I did my OA as well. My phone interview was in March. And had to reschedule it a couple of times. They had to reschedule it twice because they didn't have enough people to be able to interview.
Okay.
So it was a little bit lengthier than normal.
After completion of your interview or after completion of your behavior round, when did you got your offer letter? When did you got your news about your acceptance for internship?
So my interview was in March. I got the email in April. So that was also a little bit delayed. It's normally about a week away after your phone interview.
So compared to other students in universities and other, so what made you different from them? Like what made your resume stand out from other students who are applying for top tech companies like you?
Yeah. One of the big ones, I think, is I already had some work experience. It wasn't within computer science, but I think it demonstrated that I have the willingness to work, I have the willingness to learn, that I've worked in a setting before that's not just academics.
Okay.
I also, I think I'm a very good behavioral fit for Amazon. I feel like a lot of folks, they are very hung up about the technical aspect and they do really hard and they do lead code every day, but they neglect to learn the leadership principles. How can you be a good employee and how you can be a leader within Amazon? So I think those are the two big things.
I've seen you participated and I've seen you are a president of CSC club at UNT, right? So was this all activities which you have performed during your university period? Or did they wait for your resume?
I was actually secretary when I applied. So I was the secretary for the CS club. And then I became president of the CS club for this year. So I was actually not a president yet. But I do believe club involvement is also a big part of it because it showcases that you're more than just your academics. You're involved within your community as well.
Okay.
So I'm a part of the computer science club as an officer. I also attend meetings for women in computing and SWE. So I think community involvement, you can showcase your technical involvement, also being part of hackathons. I have a lot of projects on my resumes. It demonstrates that you yourself are interested rather than just being pushed through your academics. So
Okay. Sounds good, Monique. So what was your role and what was the project? Like what was the project you worked during your internship period?
yeah. So we actually used generative AI for my specific project. It was a chat querying tool to be able to query internal documents
Mm-hmm.
without having to make it a part of a foundation model.
Mm-hmm.
For intern projects, the idea is to have a project that you can see from start to finish. So you create a design document, you create your project, you get code reviews, and then you do a final presentation that showcases the work you've put in, showcases the choices and designs that you've created, and it really showcases you as a professional and why they should keep you on.
Okay.
So those are like the three main steps.
So all the skills which you have gained through your internship, uh, do you gain during your internship period or you learn before itself?
There were a couple of skills that I've had from previously. For example, I'm very familiar with Python,
Okay.
and that was a skill that I used heavily since Gen AI is very heavy on Python. But there, I learned a lot of new skills, especially when it comes with the AWS tools. I had never used AWS tools before. I also learned a lot of cloud technologies that I also wasn't familiar before. As well as doing code reviews and working in an agile environment. That's also something that is a bit of a unique experience.
So you learned a lot of stuff during your internship before getting into internship.
Yeah.
Sounds good, Michael. So before concluding our podcast, do you have any suggestions or you have suggestions for students like bachelor students, master students to get into top tier companies like you during their masters or bachelors?
Yeah. My like number one tip is get a referral. You have a much higher chance of having your resume even looked at. That's a very good point. Second, the technical aspect is very important. You need to like have it locked down, but also don't neglect the behavioral side. A lot of the top companies are looking for, especially in interns, they're looking for someone who they can help improve and build up on. So they're not necessarily looking for someone who has like 100% figured out in the technical aspect, but they want someone who's going to be, who can learn and can grow as a professional. And don't give up. Like, it was a difficult year, and I've applied for a lot of companies. Amazon was my top choice, so I was very thankful to like have gotten it. But I've gone through a lot of applications, and it's okay. Like if you're going to get it the first time, that's completely okay. Keep applying, keep doing it, and keep putting in the work, and you'll get there.
That's really that's really insightful, Monique. So there are like two type of people who will be applying for jobs, like who will be applying randomly jobs, many jobs, like, and the other one who applies jobs through referrals and stuff. So there is a lot of difference between these two people who are just applying for jobs and a few people who are applying as well as connecting to the jobs using the referrals. So getting referral worked you well. So you also suggest viewers to make connections more and not even applying for jobs, but focus more on getting referrals or growing your network. Am I correct?
Yeah. And also it's very helpful to like build connections because you can also ask them questions.
Exactly.
So if you're interested in knowing about more of the interview process, what they went through, what is their day-to-day like, what does the company look for in a professional? So it's very helpful to make connections.
Awesome, Mike. So how was your internship at Google? Was it like fun? Did you
Yeah, I had a
enjoy it?
really good time. It was a little bit stressful. It was very fast-paced. It was just under 3 months, and I had to like see a project from start to finish, and we're all learning at the same time. So it was very hectic, but also very exciting.
So you're trying for the full time after your internship? You got your offer?
I'm like doing the process, yeah.
Awesome, Monique. And All the best for all the best for getting into full time after your internship.
Nice. Thank
So
you.
I think I've covered all the questions. So that will be all for this podcast. So if you guys if you guys like this type of podcast, like application approaches or interview process or interview preparation tips from many other people like Monique, so please subscribe to my channel, and I'll be also giving Monique's LinkedIn ID in my description. So go connect with her, learn more about herself, and that will be all. Thank you once again. Thank you for joining the podcast, Monique.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. See you in next podcast. Bye bye.